Welcome to Ascension with V, where we talk about spiritual awakening, ascension, and everything in between. I'm your host, Stashia Jeanette, aka V, and today we have a special guest who's about to take us on a journey with their unique experiences. Wise, take it away.
Peace, peace. Yeah. In regards to my journey, first, just an introduction of who I am. I'm Wise Robbie, coming the righteous name of Wise Robbie, which basically is a name meaning a calculated ruler, the calculated ruler that born or brings forth an equivalence supreme. So it's more like an alchemist name in a sense, in the sense that everything that I do, that I serve, is definitely on an alchemical function as far as like the
Right.
transmutation of consciousness, the transmutation of humanity, or getting to the next level together, not apart,
Right.
separate. Um, I'm calculated in that sense. So, I mean, as far as like the free flowing, I mean,
Yeah. We love that. I'm like, nah, we love that. Keep going. Let's talk about the things. First of all, how did you get into the alchemical
Mhm.
consciousness? How did you get to this point of saying, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is me?
Yeah. There was a book that I've came across in my early 20s. It's the Kabbalion, and it spoke on mental transmutation. Mental
Okay.
transmutation is pretty much the works of transforming the conditions or state of mind into a either restored condition or to an exalted condition or state of mind, pretty much the exalting of your consciousness. So I got into the practice of mental transmutation through studying that book, the Kabbalion. And I studied it for like over 10 plus years, but then I also incorporated sciences such as human design system. And then
Yeah.
so just reading of the energy centers, how we can transmute, how we can like literally, when it comes to the conditions outside of us in this world, we can condition, we can actually transmute or calibrate, the energies that we come in the presence of or come into the presence of. Um, it's, I like to take the mystery out of everything. Like, you don't have to be mystified or anything.
Yeah.
It's just calculating your function of thinking, how you perceive things. Sometimes we don't utilize the pause or the wait when it
The
comes to
weight.
who we're dealing with, the people, or the energy that they're putting forth.
Right.
It's taking that pause to like, okay, let me educate my awareness to check the environment out, see what conditions are being, brought forth here, and then let's see
Right.
how we can adjust from there.
Right.
I
What are
think perhaps.
what are some of the examples of these conditions that you were just speaking on, like with the human design, for example?
Oh yeah. The conditions of emotion. I know, like when it comes to people that we deal with on a day to day, whether it be at work, whether it be at home or whatnot. Sometimes that person could be overly emotional or just very like pouring into when it comes to how they perceive things, how they perceive reality, because we all perceive differently.
Different. Right.
So, and that's what makes us unique. I know for me, I'm more vulnerable when it comes to my emotional energy center in the sense that I can be poured into. I don't really have the capacity to really hold that emotional weight or baggage. So,
Right.
for me, I have to practice emotional intelligence to release, like
Yeah. And
make sure I take a pause, not to take anything personal, because sometimes I'll end up attaching that person or attaching myself to that person's emotion. And all of a sudden
yeah.
I'm feeling it too. I'm like,
Same. Same. Like,
yeah,
what's wrong with me? What's
right,
going on?
right.
Yeah.
And I might not be built to really process or even take.
Correct.
So that could be I'm entering a danger zone. That's conditioning. That's
Right.
so
So it's definitely the danger zone. Like, oh
right.
no.
Yeah. All of a sudden I'm about to do something and that's not even my intent. Like, oh my
That's not you. Yes.
dude, you're not so. Right. So that's where transmutation can be practical in a sense of first educating our awareness, because we all, in this consciousness, the one thing that separates consciousness from awareness is that
Mhm.
I could be conscious of everything that's in this room right here, but I may not be
Right.
aware of the intricate details.
Right.
So it's like once we learn to heighten that awareness to like zone in on a focal point rather than our mind or our energy lighting up like a lamp, let's channel it
Right.
to a laser focus. We start to actually zone in on certain triggers that probably open me up emotionally. Like I probably like, oh my goodness, I felt a trigger here. I felt like I was about to react to what this
Right.
saying because I'm so passionate about what this person's saying. Okay, let me
Right.
kind of restore myself there, kind of keeping on cooler levels because this is
Yeah.
not my experience.
Right. No, but like that is a thing. And I mean, again, for me, just now learning, the human design thing is, I think that's also something that a lot of people are curious about. And I hope you're open to discussing that,
Mm.
a little more, where the human design has a lot of, I mean, once you delve into it, it gives you a lot of insight on your individual makeup and things that you are inherently vulnerable to and not vulnerable to, good at and not good at, and how you are meant to move and operate throughout life. It has been really interesting and mind blowing to find out just how different we all are, but how much you can learn from just your human design makeup.
And
How did you get into the human design, and what is yours? Your manifesting generator?
I'm a generator. Yeah, I'm
Your generator.
just a pure generator. So, yeah,
Got it. Got it.
I have the motor function of the sacral, a center, and
Yeah.
uh, that's pretty much life giving. We definitely crave satisfaction in the sense of making sure that our batteries are charged up and full. Because it's like if we're not full, we can't really give. We can't really put it.
Okay.
Yeah, and not to mention we can't really magnetize on certain certain energies that will stick and that can come together, can bring us all together to generate something, to bring about.
Right.
With human design, I got into that science probably back in 2014, or no, not even 2014. Before that, probably 2010s, around 2010s.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What led you to it?
It was literally knowledge of self. Like after I studied the Kabbalion in my early 20s, I was always on a path of like, I know there's something. It must be
Deep,
in
deep learn.
yeah, it's the indigo child type of thing. It's like, I'm
Yeah.
always trying to like, okay, I know there's something I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my eyes would capture everything
Yeah.
that's of that interest and everything. I keep on just attracting it to me and it pulls me
Yeah.
closer to the truth. So
Yeah.
whether it's the Kabbalion and mental transmutation, human design systems, it's all coming together. It's all coming to me. So yeah, I got into that science in the 2010s, and I pretty much, how I utilized it was just to help me navigate myself and also navigate myself in relationship to others, to people, because
Right.
I've grew up in a family. My family, my dad, he was in the military, in the Air Force, and everything. So we grew up moving around a lot. So I've been to like 4 different elementary schools, 3 different middle schools, and 3 different high schools. So
Ugh.
always jumping into different pools and environments where
Right.
the energy and the condition is different. And it would always,
Right.
it would either cultivate me to become a product, or I would have to turn my mind on to be the producer. So I would have
Right.
that to focus. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's rough though, but like it also made you very highly adaptable. Like, I mean, I've seen it go one of two ways, where either people have learned to become kind of like a chameleon, like very very shape shifting and easily adaptable, interchangeable with their environments and in people and places wherever they go, or it just like swallows them whole,
mm,
and then it becomes, but it seems like it made you better
yeah,
in a way,
yeah.
you know?
In a sense, that's what alchemy is. Alchemy is change, and I'm a Taurus sign, so Taurus hate change. We're known to
Yeah.
hate change, right?
You
We like routine.
Taurus is the what is it? The bull? Is it the
Oh,
bull?
oh,
The
yeah,
bull.
yeah. So I was like, for me, I think that was the lesson for my soul, in a sense, is that
Hmm.
in order for me
Yes.
to ascend, I would have to focus on adapting the change.
Yeah.
Alchemy is change. So when we're talking
Yes.
about transmutation, we're talking about from one change or condition or state to another. And what I desire or what I'm placed here to do is to born equivalent or manifest equivalent to the utmost. So I
Right.
take energies, I take certain situations, I take the environments, and I put my mindset on the focus of building a better or creating better or
Correct.
stimulating
Transmute.
trans.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So I think when people hear, oftentimes when they hear about like alchemy or things of this nature, like I think some people think that it's like a fictional, or what is it, like the alchemist stone, the philosopher's stone type of example, but it's far beyond that. Like it's a whole
yeah,
real thing.
we are
This is
we are the philosopher.
yes,
Think about it. The elements that is we have five elements within us. I mean, we're pretty much. I was telling someone earlier, we're basically lightning strike. Like we're a light
yes,
trapped inside a body. So I mean, this is an earthly
yes,
that we're in. But we also have the plasma. We also have the that's pretty much the fire. We also have the liquids. That's the water, the earth,
water,
the cells, the skin, the body. We have
yeah,
air, the breath. So
yeah,
and then we have the intelligence, the quintessence. So,
yes,
we have all these elements that are pretty much mirroring the universe. We're the universe seeing itself. And
yeah,
so but the problem is we operate on a plane of existence where it's like we're on a 3D plane where we
yeah.
consider ourselves more just an object and we're too attached to this matter. But
Do that, that,
but the fifth plane or fifth dimension is where we need to position our mind or our mental states in to really see ourselves in this 3D reality. But we're just having an experience where it's nothing
right,
to be attached to. We're here to control the functions of this body, this human design, into moving as it was architecturally put on earth to perform. And we have to
right,
start making things happen, start conditioning the environment to better, because what's happening is that we're not taking responsibility for everything. We're not taking responsibility for our environment, for the times that we're in.
right.
All it takes is a shift in the mindset, a paradigm shift in the mindset when it comes to like how we choose to live, how we choose to treat one another, how we choose to teach one another.
How do you feel like people can more easily bridge the gap or make that shift from the 3D or having no attachments to the 5D mindset?
Mindset awareness, and it's more of as far as to achieve that 5D mindset. Yeah, that's something I've been experimenting with because I mean that's an act of transmutation in itself.
Yes.
You have to, the person would have to go into the more in depth of themselves, knowledge of themselves, get to really
Yeah.
get familiar with themselves, how they relate to their environment and all that, but also practice not only that awareness, but a sense of discernment. So that way they
Yeah.
discern, okay, hey, this is
What there's
right. What's reality and what's fiction? Like,
right.
what? Yeah, if I do that, that's going to end drastically terrible. If I do
Yeah.
that, it's practicing wisdom basically, but then also
Right.
having a better understanding of our experiences, not to let certain experiences cultivate us into never learning, never ascending. Because I mean, sometimes we'll
Right.
in the like traumatic experiences that creates like a trauma bond, and it's like every time the next year runs around, we're reminded of like, oh, what happened this time around? Oh, never again. Da, 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 I'll never put myself in this type of position, and it cultivates us. It starts to condition us. Because we didn't have an understanding of that experience, we started to be more living in a suspense of fear versus learning like, okay, you know what? That was my mistake. I did that. Here's what I could probably do better to improve and, continue down a good path.
So do you think people being able to acknowledge where they went wrong is the key to getting out of that loop?
Yeah. Yeah. It's and the key
The accountability.
is the accountability. It's more to get into a present state of mind because sometimes
Mhm.
we're it's like our minds are trapped in time capsules. So we're not mentally present on the dimensions that we need to be present on. You know,
Right.
when we start to elevate our mindsets to a level of consciousness that's operating on a higher plane, higher vibration that we're more present to, we'll leave alone the distractions such as the negative feeds that we probably see in our algorithms on Instagram or something, or we'll probably we'll start to leave a lot of toxic environments,
Yes.
and we'll start to actually put ourselves into a community or elevating ourselves to reach out more to people that's alike in mind and alike in concept.
Right.
That's actually they want to see ascension in civilization, not a distance,
A D.
right? Not a distance
Yes.
into a fucking dark age, where
Yes.
like, nobody's using their awareness now. Everybody's like, The Walking Dead. It's about
Yeah, that I say that so frequently. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the dark age thing. How do we how do we avoid getting into this dark age
hmm
situation?
Oh, it's keeping your power and holding on to the power of your mind, power over your mind.
Right.
I know it's cliche, mind over matter, but it's literally everything that we see that's manifested is a product of mind.
Exactly. Exactly.
But the problem is we tend to turn the power off and we give
Yeah.
responsibility to another mind, to probably a superior
Right.
mind. We'll take it on face value versus let me
Right.
go ahead and really study what that person studied. Let me go ahead and read the books that person's probably read.
Right.
I self-educated myself on the value. Whereas like in school, I was probably like a C or a B student, but I was a rebel only because it was like, you know what? I'm not being taught the truth here.
That was literally this. That was literally me. I rebelled frequently. I didn't do homework. I was like, F these classes, F this teacher. And I would constantly say, especially in history, every time in history, whenever they'd be talking, I'd be like, you're lying. That's a fucking lie.
Yeah,
That's a fucking lie. Every time I would say it and they'd be like, suspension. I was suspended frequently because I was like, that's some bullshit. You know it.
right.
You know that's not the truth.
No,
It yes. But outside of this, the things that now I'm like, ooh, I need to learn more. I need to learn more about this and like truth stuff constantly. Give me all that. But school,
yeah, facts. Surprised,
struggle.
surprised I made it. Surprised I made it through. But yeah,
But look at you now.
indeed. I definitely because my day job, I'm a property tax consultant.
Oh, wow.
I deal in real estate. With what I do is great in service to property owners, people. And what I've learned out of this is value.
Right.
Homes, of course, but more than that on an esoteric sense, the appreciation of life, the appreciation of a human value and education, what we need to
Right.
place more appreciation on. But we see that whenever a person is not having power over their minds, we tend to gravitate to certain vibrations that's going to depreciate our value, depreciate,
Right.
like, whatever I put my time, energy, and attention to, and it's degrading, it's taking away my power, such as like a toxic argument about man and woman, and, or
Right.
toxic, politics, toxic, business practices and everything that's toxic, right?
Yes.
We're being fed this constantly, but it's like, we don't have to continue to feed we don't. We actually have a choice. That's what it means to position ourselves into a 5D mindset.
Mhm.
We're leaving, the 3D realm that's taking place. We're leaving the 4D realm of how, everything's cultivated, how time cultivates that space-time continuum. We're putting
Right.
ourselves ahead of that. And we're
Right.
like, okay, well, while that's falling apart, let's go ahead and build on this.
Let's just focus on this.
Yeah,
Literally.
chances are when shit falls, when the shit hits the fan. It's like, well, okay, we got this. Okay, we got some.
Right.
Let's continue to build on that. Put more value.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. And and it is that, like, it's the inevitable. There is that split has already happened where, like, again, people have the option to choose. Okay, so are you gonna I use the Flintstones versus Jetsons theory, where, like, essentially the Flintstones and the Jetsons existed at the same time, except the Flintstones went through some apocalyptical situation that set them back to the Stone Ages, and the Jetsons knew that it was happening and got prepared and lived above, but they were still on the same planet at the same time. But putting this in, like, Ascension example is like the Flintstones were in the Dark Age. They chose to not ascend, and they continued to feed the negative, toxic timeline and thoughts. And the Jetsons were the ones who were like, we're just going to focus over here and ascend.
Mm-hmm. Low vibrational
Mm-hmm.
plane, high vibrational plane. That's
Right.
perfect. Like especially with the Flintstones, because I mean, like you think about everything that's operating on a low vibrational plane. It's our attached to a material reality. It's our attached,
Right.
like being seen in the flashiness and the cars and everything, and this material wealth, and all the while, trafficking is big. Like
Right.
it's like
Right.
like what kind of reality is that?
Yeah.
But knowing that we actually like there's enough food to feed everybody on this planet. There's enough work for everybody on this planet. There's enough space for everybody on this planet. We have to get out of the habit of doing each other
Right.
wrong, like or take advantage.
Exactly. Like this survival, like, I hate the competition thing of, like, constant rat race. Like, oh, I have to do better than this person, and there's not enough for this, and I have to, it's this, what is it, like, gluttony type mentality.
Yeah, yeah. Greed,
Yeah.
gluttony. I mean, you're talking about all the seven deadly.
Correct. Right.
We're all
Right. Right. Right.
to us. Of course, we're dealing not only with people, we're also dealing with ourselves because there's a lot of us that you know we're waiting on our higher calling sometimes from the outside where it's meant to be received on the inside.
From the inside.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Yeah.
like once we transmute that and we start to move as a magnet, once we start to have a better solid foundation in ourselves, we tend to gravitate to people that's in the same liking and collectively, and we help each
Yeah.
other in the dark ages out
Yeah.
realities. We're here to influence and teach each other in a very unique way.
Why do you think it's such a difficult thing for people to want to step into their power, or not even that? Why is it so uncomfortable to start honoring who and what you truly are? Why is it so difficult for a lot of us to want to do? What is that thing?
Because it's not common. Like everybody, they like to equate power to something outside of themselves, an entity that's outside of themselves, an entity that
Right.
probably came together in some type of fact or fiction. And we like to give them that power versus us realizing that the same type of shit they wrote about in the past about these people,
Yeah.
that's us today. We
That's not.
create
Yeah.
that same reality. Like we need to walk in that truth. We need to walk in that power.
Yeah.
Power is power is the truth that elevates one's awareness into a state of enlightenment.
Yeah.
So when we're when we're living in this enlightened state, it's almost like a renaissance, just like the Renaissance age that happened right after the Dark Age. These are people that came together scientifically and culturally, and they started advancing. Why? I mean, like it's not that difficult for us. It's just that we have to have more people in positions of power. Not
Correct.
not necessarily in those types of positions like power,
Not that. Like, not that.
but just communal empower.
Right.
We need to
Right.
empower one another. Yeah. So I think that's it.
So you mentioned something and I wanted to follow up on it. Are you speaking of, can you relate the speaking of the past dark ages with the current dark ages? And can you explain the similarities or the differences between them?
Yeah, yeah. The differences, especially, I mean, we of course have more modern amenities when it comes to the dark
Right,
of now versus back then. The European Dark Age, that was, of course, like in the medieval times after the fall of the Roman Empire.
right.
It's certain civilization practices that just got, no, everybody just stopped taking responsibility, let certain markets crash, and you're just like, yeah, whatever, y'all do what y'all want. And the people were left like, okay, what? And so, they all,
Yeah. Like, what?
yeah, there's libraries of information that was destroyed and all that. And
Yes.
yeah, and they crashed horribly.
Yeah.
The thing about this day and age, I mean, we can see that now, even with the value of our dollar.
Right.
We're starting to see more and more, like, it's certain things are taking effect to where we're gonna have to get access to global markets. We're gonna have to be like, more accessible. We're gonna have to like really, in a sense, we have to pull together to be a community of our on our own. We have to be self sufficient. We have to
Right.
we have to be the infrastructure. We can't continue to rely on certain entities outside of us to hold infrastructure together, to hold certain
Right.
platforms together. We have to really start to come together for that. Uh,
Right.
because it'll be no different. It'll just be like if certain things were to crash, it would be a struggle. It would be a struggle for certain people, probably on the outside, to come back and educate us on how to set up electric poles, how to actually
Right. Right.
clean water. We still have Flint, Michigan going on with the water resources there. So
Right.
yeah, it's something that's kind of alarming. It's like, okay, that situation's not taken care of.
Right. Right. And how long has that been?
Yeah, about a decade now, just about.
That's what I'm saying. Like
So we know
we
we know what time it is. It's like, yeah, okay, we can see y'all not keeping it together. We can see that
correct.
entities, they're warring against each other right now. It has nothing to do with us.
Right.
They just trying to maintain some type of power and influence over whatever resources they have and share. Now we have to position ourselves in a similar light, but
Right. Exactly.
with responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said this some time ago where I said that this year and next year were energetically felt like the fall of the Roman Empire.
Hmm.
But it like is what it felt like to me. Like I'm really good with energy. And I can always feel and tap into the energies of different timelines and realms and dimensions. And this year and next year's timeline feels very much like this fall of the Roman Empire energy.
Right.
So it was interesting when you chose the Dark Ages, as a as a as a topic, because again, this is really a thing that, we're, of course, it's not going to be, it's, as you said, it'll never be like how it was then, but it's the principle of it does, there are similar
Mhm.
situations currently taking place, and as you've said, like it's really a time where people are now having to, you can either step into your and do this ascension and see a Jetsons, or you will be a part of that Flintstones fall of the Roman Empire type world.
Mhm.
And it's very interesting. I don't know if that's something that you feel
It is.
as well, but it
And that's why the preparation of the mind is important of every person. The meaning of civilization is one having knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, refinement, and it's not a savage in the pursuit of happiness.
okay.
So when it comes to civilization or to civilize means to have the knowledge and the wisdom. So people have to be made aware. the problem with today's society is that we're putting more emphasis on education in
Yeah.
regards to keeping us at a high vibrational level of civilization, of civilizing, of making even playing fields for the children, most importantly, to succeed. It's not just our vices, us trying to feed our vices, but we're trying to actually breed a class of humanity that's going to
Right.
then. We have to put
Right.
them forward from the start, from the youth, but
Right.
the but the issue right now with society is that we conceal a lot of information. We conceal a lot,
That that the truth.
and all that's being exposed this year. We're seeing it
It
now.
is. It is.
Everybody's starting to everybody's starting to be awoke to the fact that, oh wow, you know what? There might be some truth to what happened in 2001. There might be some. I don't want to get too political on that, but yeah, that
Nah,
people
but
put things together, right? And
right.
we're starting to actually like, okay, yeah, you know what? I know what time it is. Let me go ahead and get my shit together. Let me go ahead and get my.
It is that. It is that. Yes, it is that.
Yeah.
It is definitely this time this year. And again, I don't know if it's just the age of Aquarius time or if it's just this time. But next year is a 9 year, and nines are
Mm.
I mean, like the 8 year was interesting as well. But this 9 year that we're coming up on, it's absolutely the like all gas no brakes, and like you either are with it or you're not.
Pick a side.
That literally. And it there is this thing of where people are, it's almost kind of like waking up after well past the alarm clock and realizing, oh shit, I'm late. Like it's like a lot of these people are having this moment of something's happening. And I feel like before the end of this year, I know we're coming up on it, but sometime between now and January, a lot of stuff is going to come out where people are going to be like, it was a lie. All of this was a lie. And then it just feels like a lot of people kind of feeling like they missed the boat.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
You know what I mean?
right. I know what you mean. Like it's like a lot of people didn't hit the snooze button too much,
Too much.
and they were warned in the early 2000s. They were warned, and it's like
Yeah.
with us, right?
Right.
Been on this path of ascension since birth. Come on,
Since birth. No, I'm like, no, we
yeah,
came out the womb. Like,
right.
listen, we just
We knew
came
something
out the
was up.
womb.
We knew
Yeah,
something was up. Like, man, oh no,
correct. Literally.
yeah. So, and it's like certain things that we used to be probably ridiculed for, like in the past, right?
Yeah.
People are now starting to see, like, damn,
Oh,
she was,
shit, they were right.
they were on to something. They wasn't just talking. Not,
Yes.
yeah, we were seeing the signs.
Yes.
And we were made to see certain signs. We were made to
Right.
pick up on certain energy patterns.
Right.
Actually, once we detected that, we gave voice to it. We started like
Mm,
voice to it. We started to attract
yeah.
now. We started to attract more insight to where we become enlightened and we start to speak more of this into existence. Like we're picking it all up and we're trying to feed it with
Right.
the masses. Some of us had to like, kind of go in hermit mode because it's like, we got burned out too many, like
Yeah.
too much of seeing not too many people gravitate to what we're saying. But
Yeah.
now we're seeing, especially from this year, certain
Yeah.
places where it's like, okay, well, cool. I've already been prepared for that, but I mean, y'all waking up. That's good. That's good. Let me catch you up to this season.
You're Yeah, I see you're just on season 1. We're
Right.
on season 56, but
That part.
welcome to the class. We're actually this is ninth semester. You're a little late, but
Let's bring you up to speed here. That's what I mean. Like in the upcoming ages. I mean, especially with this Aquarius age, this
yes,
enlightenment. It's gonna come with a lot of teachers. So it's gonna come with a lot of people with different skill sets. That's all gonna unite us to a one similar goal, one mind,
right.
and the exaltation of a civilization. not to be society's degenerates, but to actually come forward as human families, as one
Right.
consciousness that's under the goal of peace. Where we're looking to achieve peace, community control, and peace. Having control
Right.
of what comes in and what goes out, especially when it comes to information, when it comes to resources.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of people are being fed, and we see it all today, all the time when it comes to our media. A lot of we have impressionable minds out there. They take certain things that are said by irresponsible people and irresponsible businesses and irresponsible groups, and that's what plunges us into the dark age.
Yeah.
And we need more funding for our platforms, and that's not going to become a value until shit
Right.
falls apart. Then people are going to,
Yeah.
everybody's
Meanwhile, we're just here like on standby.
right, just like, oh, here we go.
Really? Really, we're like just on standby, and it is that like it's very much honestly like until the proverbial tarot card, the tower, until the towers fall, like it's like we're just here, kind of like
Hmm.
and there's so much of the propaganda, like false idols, and what's also interesting is a lot of people are being deterred away from the false idols. Like I've heard over the last 3 months a lot of people talking about them blocking and unfollowing a lot of celebrities,
Mm. Yeah,
and I'm like, good job, I'm glad you're getting on board. Yes, keep going, like, because it's this where I think people are now just realizing like, hey, that's not, I don't think they're not really living that life, and that's not really, this is just fake, and it's like almost kind of as if people can see behind the curtain at this point where they're starting to like peek. It's like somebody pointed, hey, there's a curtain right here.
the Wizard
And
of
they,
Oz.
yeah. Yeah, and they're like, what's this? Hey, there's somebody controlling that with a puppet hand. Like
Hmm. Exactly, pulling it
it's
on the veil.
yeah, literally, it's people are now finally being like, what is this?
They're starting to see the reality of the people that
Like,
we continue to put out there as entities of power. We gave them so much.
right.
We made them our Ra's, our Thoths, our Isis. We made them our gods. And it's like,
Yes.
point back to yourself. You the star.
Yeah.
You the god.
Yes.
Like, oh,
You it.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is your reality.
Yeah.
So you live it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we kept on comparing ourselves to, what they had presented to us, not knowing that all the
That's not it.
it's not it. And especially how they're managed.
It's definitely not it.
Yeah, definitely not it. Nasty.
Yeah.
That's gonna,
Yeah.
like, in the next couple of years, contracts ain't gonna be a thing.
Mm.
No, it's not gonna be a thing. Your word's gonna be bond by how you live it, how you walk it, how you talk it.
That.
You got to be a person's
That.
word.
Yeah. I think now even I don't know, maybe it's like that for you as well, because I feel like you're definitely there. So like I feel like that's how I operate. Now I don't tell people I'm gonna do something unless like I know I can do it, because that's how I move. My word is my power. That's it. Like if I give you my word, that's me kind of like in blood, that's me putting the stamp on it.
Mm.
I'm gonna do it.
Word is bond is life, and I will give
That.
my word shall fail. That's
What
that.
was it? Wait, what is it? What'd you say?
I said my word is my bond. My word is my bond, and bond is life, and I will give my life before my word shall fail.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, we literally we create bonds with our words. It's a lot of
Yes,
bonds that form with our words. So it's important that what we speak on, what we think of ourselves, because before it becomes a word, it was a thought.
it's in your
Yeah, it was either a thought or it was an emotion. When we train
right.
that emotion and that thought to where it's coming from a solid sense of agency within ourselves, then everything
Yeah,
is going to be on purpose. Everything we say and speak on is going to be on purpose. Like, I'm not going to say anything low vibrational about you or myself that
correct.
we're not operating on that plane. We're operating
Right,
higher plane, and that's where
right.
us need to get to more from a place of matter into a place of mind,
Yeah.
a mental plane. And that's where we have all the spiritual essential, I mean, all the access to it. That's only the
All the things. Like the mentality to me is like the place where I say like all the good things live. Like all your power, all the imagination, all the answers, all the wisdom, all the timelines, like all the things. But like you can't mix the two worlds, like it's not you can't still be there like watching like political nonsense and talking about low vibrational things and then being like, so I'm here also.
mm-mm. Cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. One thing is working again. Uh, it's not properly, you know.
Incompatibility. Yes, yes. But it's an interesting place. But you saying that about like the words, your word is I have a card in my tarot deck. Not my tarot deck, my oracle deck that says your words are your wand. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Like the magic, like especially like in the medieval times, magic was just science. Science and magic, they're basically synonymous.
Yeah.
It's a science that they use. So even with the wand and everything, we think about what that wand was a connection to. It's an extension of the person's hand. You know,
Right.
we think about like how we move and how we have our certain movements and everything. It's a reflection of the energy that we have.
Right.
Of course, everything we say, we're gonna make sure to put action into it. So we're gonna make sure to make something an extension of it, whether it's a wand
Right.
or it's a Palm Pilot.
Not the Palm Pilot,
but
but facts though.
but
But facts though.
but
It is. And then I heard that somewhere I saw this and it was a quote of like, spelling like spells, they're spelling, you know, your words
mhm,
is your magic.
rituals, rights,
Yeah.
portals. And you think about it, even what we see in television and media, and even in our phones, portals. They're portals. They're all portals. We're all walking portals. We're all, and those portals,
Right.
we're being invited into a world. That world is pretty much subordinate to a mind. That's the dangerous part about it, because sometimes we get attached to a world of another, and we
Yeah.
go in not exploring, but we go in fully lost in it, to the point where
Right.
we lose ourselves, we lose our reality. It's
Right.
almost like a dream. We're all gonna wake up from this dream, and we're
Right.
gonna be in our essence, but it's not meant to attach to that dream or that world, that we're in. It's meant to explore and navigate. That's where
Right.
the knowledge of self, knowledge of your energy centers, where you
Yeah.
how you're emitting.
Yes.
We're emitting frequencies. We're also receiving frequencies. We have to be very
Right.
careful what we're receiving and emitting.
Yeah, and it is. It's hard. I mean, especially when you have open channels, like it is. It's hard. Like we said before, like very quickly, like you can get into the danger zone. Like, oh no. Like that's something that I'm still currently very much. I don't think I will ever fully master it, like master this of just being, but I'll be in different timelines or exploring people's energy or what have you, and very quickly I'll be like, "Oh, attachment," and and it'll be like return to sender, like have to keep that cleared out. But for a long time I was afraid of that being one of my gifts because I was afraid that I would get lost, kind of like what you said, in someone else's reality. And I remember one time having an experience of feeling where I kept having to remind myself who I was and what I was doing because I had spent too much time in this person's reality, right? Like it was a whole mind trip. It was almost like watching Inception, but obviously in my real life, and it was interesting, but it is a real thing where if you don't know yourself and your energy and who and what you are at your core and what your ground zero, like homeostasis base energy is like all the time, very quickly you can get sucked into somebody else's energy, world, reality, timeline, and It's a trip.
It is. And that's one of the things that I use alchemy, my studies in alchemy for, is to pretty much, educating myself in certain environments, really like, let me take a pause and educate my awareness to check environment. That's also an acronym for peace. Peace. Pause,
Yeah.
educate awareness, check environment. So it's like, okay, I'm checking the conditions of this environment. Whether I'm engaging in an emotional conversation with somebody, especially knowing that I have an open energy center. If I engage into, some, talks about inspiration, knowing that I have an open, I know I got rabbit holes right there. So I mean, I have to be careful. So it's like
Yeah.
that's where the calibration of the calibration of the energy that you emit and the energy that you receive. That's why those
Okay.
are important, because it's, in a sense, it's like you can all
Break that down for us on a more layman turn.
yeah. There's always going to be a polarity switch. Hold on, there we go. My phone.
Yeah, I was like, hold up.
Yeah, my phone. Let me see if I make sure I have my charger here. Okay, here we go. But perfect. But with the calibration switch comes about whenever we detect certain energies. We have this awareness to detect certain energies, but we have to be competent in our responses to the energy and not necessarily our reaction to the energy. For instance, what's the open energy center that you have? I mean, your human design,
It's the sacral.
the sacral. Ah, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it's a lot. Have you ever found yourself in a position of people pleasing?
Always. I mean, not so much anymore, but like that was one of the biggest things that I had to work on, and it was rough.
Right, right. Because I know with the sacral response, my father, he has an open sacral. I know he's a manifester, and he used to go out of his way to the utmost to make sure the other person was good. And it's like, yo,
Was good.
give yourself some rest, give yourself some time.
Yeah, and it's hard.
Right,
It's hard to break out of that because you think you're being selfish.
right, right. And so there you have a level of awareness to where you can detect certain triggers. To
Right.
like, okay, I feel like I'm doing a lot more than I'm pouring a lot more that I don't really have. It's just
Yeah.
like an open emotional solar plexus to the point where
Right.
you know I want to contribute emotionally, but I don't have it like that.
I ain't got it.
Yeah, that's where it's like the pause is necessary. It's like, okay, you know what? Let me not advance. Let me go ahead the trigger. So with
Right.
the trigger, let me kind of like, okay, keep calm, keep an equilibrium.
Yeah.
We have to keep
Yeah.
equilibrium in certain energy centers. Once we have that equilibrium in place, then
Yeah.
we're not going to move off the unnecessary. We're going to have time to process and actually give a better response to the situation, whether it's in reflection or guidance. And that's where you have a gift in, even in the open sacral center, is to reflect, is to act
Yeah.
like, okay, you know what? Here's what you could possibly do. You advise them. And I find myself, even when it comes to having emotional solar plexus, an open emotional energy center, I have to find myself reflecting that emotion. Like, okay, so you feel da. That's understandable.
So what is that like for you? Like, what's the
Yeah.
example of that for you?
For me, that's more of detecting and being competent of the specific terms that's being expressed from that person,
Okay.
that entity, from that individual. It's like, okay, you know what? You ain't. Oh, that made you angry. That definitely. Oh, you are hot. And I have to make sure that I'm talking. It's almost like a song, right? There's certain jams that probably exist in our heads that the artists they're saying, and it's according to their reality, but we find ourselves repeating it. And I'm a such and such, and I'm not none of that. Like I'm the drug dealer, trapper, like I'm not none of that at all, sir. Nah, we have.
Sir.
We have to get into the habit of cleaning up our words. Like, yeah, that person is such and such. Okay, he likes to live raw and
He
doggy.
he
What?
doing that.
Yeah, that person's doing.
Nah, man.
Yeah,
That ain't me. I never did.
thank you. That's the discernment. That's the discernment. We have that type of
Right.
discernment paired with our awareness as we're engaging and navigating this condition, this energy. It's almost like driving. It's almost like driving. You're
Yeah.
literally driving And you have to watch out for not only yourself, but the other person, because you're like, okay, this person's driving like an asshole. This person is I'm an ass. I just need to be in the middle and just make sure that I'm okay and make it my safe passage.
Yeah. Yes.
In a sense, that's how we have to recalibrate certain energies that we come into contact with, certain
Yeah.
frequencies. It's all tied. It's all tied.
I feel like they've been giving me the car analogy frequently. Like I said in a couple of my videos of learning to drive and navigate in your Merkaba or your
Yeah.
light body, like, but every time they give me an example, it's always like you went from a base model Honda to like a Bugatti Veyron, with all the bells and whistles, or like a Rolls Royce, but it's the shift in your upgraded vehicle, and everything is about this kind of driving this car analogy, which is, again, it's funny that you said it, because they'll frequently say, stay in your lane and watch out for your blind spots.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And be careful when you're letting the windows down, because think about these vehicles, right? Be careful, because you might be driving in some rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes and shit. You put one window down, something's flying in. Our open energy centers. That's our open energy. We have to keep the windows up. That's exactly what we're doing. You don't enter a car wash with all windows down. That when you enter in a conditioning field, you got to put the windows up. Close them energy centers. Chill. Check it at the gate.
It's so accurate. It's so accurate. These are the best examples ever, and it's so accurate.
Yeah, we in a traffic jam of life right now.
About he's like, no, you don't go in a car wash with you.
With the windows down, nah, you don't do that. Nuh-uh. These conditions are going to wash you out. You better chill out.
It's bad. It is. It's so bad. Like, and then also trying to navigate, like not being afraid of your open energy centers, but like using them as, I mean, they're your superpowers. Really, they are. I was looking at it from, and I think a lot of people do this, where they look at it as like some really scary thing, or it's like your weaknesses or something to be, I don't know, like really guarded and whatnot against. And I realized that in me doing that, I was putting up like this wall of armor. Do you know what I mean? Which then was also like blocking a lot of stuff from coming in.
You're right.
I just was like, I was like driving around in a damn like cyber truck with like all the bulletproof,
Yeah.
like the zombie apocalypse vehicle at all times. And my guides in the universe is screaming at me like, we can't get in, and but my open centers, I can't, and it so that whole process,
I
go ahead, what you
always
say?
use I always use this analogy when it comes to dealing with your open energy centers. It's almost like a backyard of space. The fixed energy centers is your house.
You're
Every
right.
got rules when it comes to your house, but when you go into that backyard, and you're gonna see all kind of critters come through your backyard. They're just
Right.
gonna go on their guests. You just
Right.
have them come
Right.
through, have them go out. But
You're
definitely
right.
mow the lawn there. Make sure you keep it neat. Yeah, don't let it get wild out there in your open energy center in that open space. It's lawn. Otherwise,
That's where I'm currently at. Like once a week I'm out here with like the lawnmower, but still like,
garden too, because you got to make sure you have a good landscape and that people are going to be gravitating to, because that's the reason why they gravitate to you, is because they feel
yeah.
that void. So I see it being power in a sense, because it's kind of like it's what attracts a lot of people, or a lot of energies to us. The fact that we have this open spaces, but we also have
Right.
practice that awareness to, like, okay, I see you, but
Yeah, I see you.
I see you, but I am not you. That's
Right.
earned.
Right. It is. It's almost like I had this dream one night when they were trying to tell me about like what my radiance does, right? And it was almost like everything was dark and it was just this light, and then all you could see was like this horde of almost kind of like a zombie apocalypse of like entities and things coming at me, and I was just sitting there like, and they just kept saying like, reflect and let it move through. It's They're coming to you, but it's not you. It's coming to you, but it's not you. Like
Camouflage.
practicing, it was almost like being in training of like letting energies come through, but not in me. Do you know, like not taking in
Right.
their energy.
It's almost kind of like not Wing Chun. There's another style of martial arts where they reflect the person's like they you
Yes,
yeah they use your energy against you. Like
correct.
if you're coming at full force, they'll and then you're basically falling
Yes,
due to your full force.
yes, yes.
So you're yeah
This is what I was doing.
yeah
This, yes, it's like the dark energy came in, but light went out.
hmm
Do you know what I'm saying?
right.
But even
It,
still,
you're,
like
proc- you're processing the energy, and that's refinement right there. That's alchemy right there. You're processing the energy and you're transmuting it. You're taking the best parts, but you're letting the other bullshit probably go out.
go
Yeah.
exactly, exactly.
hmm That's
You
transmut.
get it.
Yeah, that's transmutation in a nutshell. That's what we be. That's what we're doing 24/7. We're energy transmitters.
Maybe us. That's what we doing. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but
Not everybody's activated.
right.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like if we can get 100% of us activated in that kind of that plane,
Yo, right,
we'll command the entire universe. But and of course that takes time. And a lot of people, they feel they don't have time. But the thing about when we're planting a tree is we're not planting for the sake of us sitting under it one day. We're planting it so
right.
fruit and that could be of our works. The fact that hey, we planted it,
Exactly, exactly.
that's beautiful in itself.
Yes, and it is. It's kind of like us, like taking our little bag of seeds to just like,
Seeing what grows from it. Yeah.
yes, yes. You know, I don't know. It's been interesting though. Like the entire process has been quite the learning experience. But Wise, you're doing a lot. You and your knowledge and the things that what is this? What else is this thing that I see you doing about the 5%?
Yeah. The 5% nation. That's my brother. Those are my brothers in that nation, brothers and sisters. It's a brotherhood, but for the youth, in the sense that we teach civilization practices to actually bring the children together into this national consciousness, a state of mind, to where
Yeah,
self-sufficient and to where they'll make it building blocks that will contribute to humanity as a whole versus
right,
being so separate and far apart. So we see from different lenses. We see from a lens, not from the lenses that we've been conditioned. We see from lenses in which we've done our own research. That's why we start with our nation. We have a principle. We have a first principle, which is knowledge. Knowledge is to look, listen, observe, and respect. Or knowledge can simply mean to know. Knowledge is the foundation of your awareness. We make that the first principle because that's what what's what we do as scientists. It's what we do in the sense of discovering when we're navigating. We're trying to see every square inch of how and measure every square inch to how this is going to play out. We're observing. We're literally like making measurements in our 3D environment to see how things are going to play out. But we know we don't stop there. Our
right,
second being wisdom. We have to experiment. We have to, through our ways and actions, achieve certain reactions to take place that's going to help us to comprehend or better understand what's going on. Oh,
right,
I know if I touch this, this is going to happen. I know if I do that, this is going to happen. That's where wisdom comes in, being the second principle. Third
right.
being understanding. Understanding is a principle that we share as being the best part. Understanding is basically to see things clearly. When you when
Okay,
you when you comprehend when you comprehend how certain actions come about, you're more competent about your reactions. You're not necessarily it's no longer a danger zone for you. You have competency of like, okay, I observed this condition, I observed what happens when you press that button. And now that I got an understanding of that, I can go ahead and focus more on pressing this button.
right,
Culture is a way of life. That's the fourth principle. Culture is a way of life. What becomes a understanding for you becomes a practice. You start to practice it more until you hit
right,
a certain element, and you're like, okay, let me not do that. Let me do it this way. Now, the fifth principle is power. Power is the truth. Power is the truth because it elevates our awareness into a state of enlightenment to the point where, okay, you know what? I'm elevating my way of life now. I'm actually, making certain I'm walking in the truth. I'm walking in the fact that this works. I'm walking in the fact that if I plant this, given a 2-month time frame, this is going to grow. I know the proper conditions have to be in place. That gives people a lot of authority. That gives people a lot
Right.
of ability. That's power because
Right.
you're going by the facts. You're going by the truth. And then
Right.
you have other principles too. But I'm gonna stop right there because it can get deep.
Yeah. Yeah. No. But I love that. I mean, that is you. That's literally you with the bag of seeds. I
Yeah,
mean, really, like literally, that is you, like Farmer Joe over here. Like
I like.
that is.
Yeah, the seeds of consciousness. That's what I'm.
Yes.
Hey, let's go ahead and plant that. Get we
Yes.
want to spark the person's mind. That's been my goal.
That. Yes.
Mhm.
I love that.
We see a
All
match
right.
lights up, everybody lights up.
Because you're the one with the match, and you're just going through, and then everybody's little candle is now lit. I love that.
Exactly.
All right. I'm going to let you wrap up here. If there's anything closing that you want to say, please stay on after I hit the stop of the record because yours has to finish uploading. So don't like hang up after I hit the end recording. But if there's anything else that you want to add here or say, this is your time.
As far as like closing statements, community is going to be very important in next year, starting now.
Starting now.
Now or in. That's the only time that we're going to operate on. We're going to end the certain cycles that we've been present to. We're going to
Yeah.
end cycles, past traumas, and everything. We're going to start a cycle of now and the times where we can grow and develop a greater humanity, a greater regard for one another, a greater love, higher frequency and vibration. So, community is important. It's just making sure that if anything, you, myself, we start to collectively gather people,
Yes.
our village.
Yes. 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 All right. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, your knowledge, your wisdom, your power, and all the things. This has been amazing, very informative, super enlightening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you for having me.
Of course. All right. Stay on and social media. Where can people follow you?
Yeah. I actually got 2 pages. One is Wise Rabi Allah and or Wise Rabi, which is Wise underscore Ra RA and then underscore BE. I'll start there. Now I'm not gonna even promote the other page. I got the T Alchemist page, but I mean I'm still working on that. But for now, yeah.
No, I'm still working. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, but please don't hang up.
Um, I'll be here.
All right.